Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Cavett.
My next guest is certainly one of the most colorful figures around. A lot of colorful figures can't do anything except be colorful.
Thank you.
Muhammad, what do you do these days now? It seems I've sometimes wondered what you're doing.
You know, it's really strange. I'm actually more busy now than I was boxing.
That's pretty good. Do you feel bitter toward the entire white race? Do you think there's something about whiteness that is evil?
No, sir. No, sir. Whatever white people do as far as evil or as far as mistreatment, it's just the nature of the white race to be this way if we check history.
Do you think it might be human nature?
But I would say that just the nature, from what I see of darker people, is peace. I say like the Japanese seem to be a peaceful people until somebody else came over dictating and trying to rule them. The Hawaiians, they'd be on the beach doing their little dance. The Indian was building his whatever teepee or whatever you call it. The African was somewhere doing his little dance. These people have never tried to go to other planets or enslave other people or take over countries.
Actually, that isn't true. If you took, for example,
It's kind of hard to put a black...
Are you asking me for an answer to that?
It's kind of hard to put a black man or any black person in this country in jail, because if you ask the average one, we're already in jail. You know, we've been in jail 400 years.
How does the subject changed so many times in that long sentence that I'm going to talk for a second now.
Yeah.
He's been proclaimed a genius by his colleagues, and I speak of the undaunted author and filmmaker Norman Mailer.
Listen, I'm glad you called me a genius, because I agree with everything that Muhammad Ali said.
Yeah, well...
And you need credentials in America if you want to get ahead.
Elaborate on that, would you?
Well, you know, the toughest thing in American life is that if you don't succeed, people don't listen to you as carefully.
I'm sorry, I'd just like to say one thing that I'll have to say. I'm not hurt at all.
But nonetheless, if you don't succeed, then they don't listen to you. So that's why everybody in America, when they're young, want to succeed at a great rate, because it means they then get listened to. Then if you succeed and you insist on moving forward, but if you don't bow in every place you're supposed to bow, well, then you start losing those credentials that you gained.
Okay. But I'm going
to have to come on and talk in a comic vein after Muhammad Ali has stated some unpleasant but irrefutable, from my point of view, facts.
Did I say anything that surprised you? Was it clear that what I was objecting to was what I think is a misrepresentation of a kind of mythic idea that every race but the white race is unhostile? And I
agree with you entirely on that. I agree with you entirely on that.
Nobody would claim that.
But I would say that the white race has had more success at murder than the other races.
I don't know. I don't know if you added them up. It's just pointless to sit here and defend an entire race, I think, or even to attack one, don't you?
Well, my favorite notion, you know, is that that the devil is the most beautiful creature that God ever created. So people who believe that whites are beautiful...
Tell me what you mean by the devil. Is he a real presence for you?
I knew we'd get into a discussion like this on television.
Yeah,
if television went on long enough.
The devil has not come up on... The devil has not been mentioned on this show so far, I know, in this series, so I'm glad to have you bring it up.
See, well, for instance, there are people who say that you are the most beautiful host and commentator that has come along in late evening television, in the history of late evening television. So by that measure, you might be the devil.
Funny that you should mention this. If I disappeared suddenly now, wouldn't you faint?
No, on the contrary. I'd leap up and I'd turn to that audience and I'd say, you see what just happened?
Yeah.
I say, are you impressed with that? No, you thought it was an electronic trick.
How's your movie coming?
All right. Listen, may I talk to Muhammad Ali?
I would love
wanna
you
pay
to,
my
because
respects. I
I'm
really
here
do.
all the time, and I like it when my guests have intercourse with one another.
Well, that's if he'll speak to me. I don't
It's
know.
really an honor. It's a blessing.
Are you saying there was a time when you were hurt, but you've gotten over it, or that it never hurt?
What hurt? Hurt by what? See, we have a saying, you cannot please God and the devil too, so I'm pleasing God.
Well, I'm going to, despite the fact that we're agreeing on most things, I'm going to cross.
And if you please the devil, and if the devil loves you, then something's wrong with you, then God don't want you. So anybody who's doing the right thing, well, they catch a lot of hell.
And what it is that you cannot know if you are morally good or not. In other words, a saint can think they are a monster of evil, and they can be a saint. Or they can think they're a saint, and they can be a saint. And an evil man can think he's a monster of evil, and indeed be evil. Or an evil man can think he is saintly and be evil. In other words, you cannot know your own moral nature. You can only do what you do. You do what you do. And you will serve as the agent of the Lord or the agent of the devil, and you may not know who you serve for. Others may have a very powerful idea of who you are serving for. I said I came here to pay my respects to Muhammad Ali, and if for people who love prize fighting, when Muhammad Ali was the most exciting prize fighter to come along, possibly in the history of the heavyweight division. And certainly he was the most beautiful fighter who had come along in the history of the heavyweight division. And the great question was he a great champion or merely an extraordinarily beautiful boxer? And a man who had very interesting powers when it came to hitting.
So does it do any good to try to decide whether you are moral or good?
I would say it does no
or
good. When a country moves along with questions that can't be answered, they're just wasting their own potential. Fruitless questions are the death of a nation.
How would you like it if I were to lead into a commercial now?
Whatever you want to say, but when you say
After this
devil,
message
you're
from
right.
our local stations, we'll return.